Al Fasher, based on the testimonies I heard from many survivors, is basically a crime scene right now. I met one woman in one of the clinics that we're supporting who had seen her own husband killed in front of her and had escaped, and her neighbor, and had escaped with the malnourished child of her neighbor, had to make that perilous walk to Tawila, going through so many checkpoints where people are being fleeced, they're having everything taken from them. En route, while she carried this malnourished baby, she had her leg broken by men on one of those checkpoints, and I think you can probably fill in the rest of that story. A horror show, absolute horror show. Countless stories like that. It's a sexual violence epidemic, as you know. And our healthcare partners are reporting that they're getting up to 250 people arriving daily with gunshot and torture wounds. The commitments I was seeking from the RSF, and actually from other parties on the ground, are that we get unhindered access to people on the basis of need, and that this is never politicized, that we don't go in, of course, with any military accompaniments and so on, that we are going in under our own steam. In terms of when we get into Fasher, I wouldn't want to put a deadline on it, because we want to test our conditions and make sure we're confident that they will be met. But my hope is that this is the work of days and maybe weeks, and not of months. We need to get in absolutely urgently. I'm not going to somehow stop humanitarian operations and let more people die while I wait for member states, international community to think about blue helmets or other ways of stopping this conflict. I have to deal with the reality on the ground as we find it, and that means we'll save as many lives as we can in the conditions in which we're allowed to operate. Now, I desperately hope that those conditions get better, and that there is that sustained international engagement to end this conflict, open up humanitarian space. I can't, and the people that we're here to serve can't wait for that.
We're in Korma in Darfur. We're very close now to Al Fasher, which has been the epicenter of inhumanity in this conflict. And we're meeting survivors of that conflict who have had to fight so hard just to get here. Moving along that road where there's extortion, there's brutality, there are mass executions, there are mass rapes, and then they get here and they're in desperate need of help. And I do not want the teams responding to that to be responding empty-handed. I'm hearing too often that people have nothing, that there is no food, there's no water, there's no medicine. This is a desperate, desperate situation, and the world must respond. Korma, I also met with RSF representatives to make clear that we demand full accountability for the atrocities that have taken place in Al Fasher, that we insist on full civilian protection, and that we will be vigilant in protecting civilians, and we demand that of all the parties on the ground.